but she's pretty calm.
No worries. All right, everybody. I am here with one of my best subscribers ever. His name is Travis. Travis, hello. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it too.
Mhm.
And so, what we're here to talk about today is autism, dating on the spectrum, all that stuff. Just basically spreading the awareness for what dating is like with autism.
Yeah. Let me
And
bring this stream up real quick
sure,
on my thing. Yeah. I have it all queued, so we're all good.
cool.
Um, that way I can turn the volume off. The volume's not working on my TV, so there we go. Perfect.
Awesome. So can you see me?
Yeah, I can hold on. Let me just get ads. I mean I can see your picture, yeah. There we
I have
go.
an ad. You're watching it.
Okay.
All right,
Now we're
good. So
good.
now you could watch the stream while you're talking to me. All
Yeah.
right. So first off, um, the first thing I wanted to ask you, because I think a lot of people don't know, is what
Mhm.
is autism?
Well, I can start from a scientific perspective.
Okay.
Is literally parts of my brain are way more like way more active than others.
Mm.
It just works way harder. So, for example, some things don't like in school. Is a better example, not just socially, but like for in school settings. Like I'm really good at math, but
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to a written test, I'll take like 4 times as long to do it.
Got it.
So
Okay.
so that's on an academic level, but socially, because my like conversation, I'm always feeling like I'm always thinking like 20 steps ahead. So that's why people stutter with autism. So it's just kind of like,
Ah.
and that's sort of social, like that's where people like when you're in grade school, they'll make fun of you for it.
Yeah.
Not so much when you get further into adulthood, but you'll get like made fun of. You'll kind of feel it was more. I've noticed it's more internally for me that I feel ostracized because I'm over analyzing everything. Like I said, 20 steps ahead, always
Mm.
thinking like my brain doesn't shut off. That's kind of so like those things combined will make you not being good at certain subjects in school will ostracize you, and then so that's where the struggle comes in. It's just the thinking too far ahead and then and having to go backtrack, and then that
Mm.
gets frustrating at times.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense. And now I'm kind of putting the pieces together because I remember that Elon Musk says that he's on the
Mhm.
spectrum. And
Yeah.
when he's speaking, now that he said that, that makes a lot of sense to me because it literally looks like he has a million things to say and he's
Mhm.
going, well, how do I say this to this person? Because I have so much right now. I have so much planned to explain. Where do I start? Where do I is that what it's like?
Yeah, it's like that, but also like at the same time because of that you think so literally. Like you
Hmm.
can't like humor. You need to live in the moment, right? Certain types of
Mm-hmm.
humor,
Yeah.
like my type of humor is like uh, it could be very different than yours, but it's a very specific niche. So yeah, so yeah, you're right on that. But then they talk super fast when they're passionate and they know the subject really well.
Mm.
So like Jerry Seinfeld, he makes
Yes.
it says he has it, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
assuming he has it. And you know how his you'll notice his comedy is very literal,
Yes.
and it makes fun of like the social like things that like why are they there kind
Yes.
of thing. And so that's the other that's like more another social thing about it.
Interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Um, and also, because I heard somebody say that it's 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 a it, it's exclusive to socializing, but it's not. It affects different parts of your lifestyle, right?
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to school, I literally can't do like in a lecture setting, so I chose to drop out of college.
Mm.
But in a grocery store setting, since that's all numbers and just kind of bouncing around all the time, which I already do in general, uh, that fits me perfectly. In fact, I'm an assistant manager at a Dollar Tree
Mm.
after only a year,
Wow, that's
less than a
great.
year, I should say. So like so like I guess it helped on a learning level. There's some curves that I just don't understand necessarily, and I just have to do a different way.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. And also, I like how you find where your strengths are. And this is just like everybody, where your strengths are, and then you work to those strengths.
Yeah, and I could do the same things like everybody else can.
Hmm.
It's just sometimes the path to get there's either different or I tell there are people that come to my that I'm close to, or even people that just come into my store that have a disability and and like they don't get treated the same in the store. And when I see that, I just point out these guys can do this. I commend them for going out there and doing things. They have to
Mm.
work at least 3 to 10 times as hard on everything they do
Mm.
to get to where they are right now.
Wow.
And so I do have experience with people, uh, um, more in a personal setting. I don't have like credentials to like academic setting. Like I'm not a licensed therapist, but
Hmm. Yeah.
I feel like speaking from experience is a lot different.
Yes. Oh,
And
totally.
and also I just know that there are some things I've had to do, like we'll talk about later, like how far I've come. But in general, I've had to work uh, um 10 times as hard socially just to
Hmm.
I've had to observe so much before actually doing those things.
Yeah.
But there are other things, like I said, like that math comes so easily to me. I'm like the best. Well, I shouldn't say best, but but I know personally that I noticed that I'm a lot faster at the numbers part of the job when it comes to
Mm.
cashiering.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of cashiering at work. I also do freight, but cashiering, I'm able to really excel at that. And so like that's effortless, but everything else on the job can be really hard for me, like
Hmm.
the conflict resolution.
Oh, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
how old are you, by the way, Travis?
23.
Great. And I noticed you mentioned you're helping people from experience, and how people are feeling. I noticed on the show Love on the Spectrum that life coach, she has autism as well, and so
Yeah.
it felt
Jennifer Cook,
so.
I think was her name.
Jennifer Cook.
Yeah.
It was great watching that because it felt like she actually
Yeah.
knew what she was talking about. And it felt like when she was teaching something, that she had
Yeah.
such a close relationship to it rather than something that she felt detached from.
Yeah, I noticed that on the difference between that and the Australian version.
Mm-hmm.
Jodie Rogers did a great job on the Australian version. I
Yeah.
think she really studied them,
Yes.
but I don't think, and she definitely helped them, but I don't think that they were able to, like there were certain aspects that I felt like were missing because she doesn't have she
Yeah.
hasn't spoken from experience.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but so I did notice a difference in how the things were approached. And like that girl Abby, when she was rolling the ball,
Mm-hmm.
that I noticed that light on her face and just the way that things were being explained to her.
Yes.
Uh, or like she just smiled so much when that happened.
Yes.
Versus like on the Australian version, that they were more learning and more intent on learning than just smiling and living
Mm.
in that and experiencing like like being coached. And autistic people tend to be more they're less about anything besides, like they get more impressions than they're detail oriented, but in general like impressions need to come first. And I feel like uh there are some things that they can't get impressed upon them unless it's taught in the way that they need to be taught.
Mm.
And I think Jennifer Cook did a fantastic job of
Yeah.
understanding that, and also how people with autism all had their different strengths and weaknesses. And I think she played to that differently because you saw that guy Sabode
Yes.
was very different than Abby, so she approached him differently, just like you
Yes.
approach everyone else differently.
Yes.
And yeah, so
Oh,
I
thank you,
thought
by the
she
way, for noticing that I approach people differently when I coach.
yeah, 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 I noticed that. Well, you have to do it with people.
Yeah.
That's what I honestly believe. I've noticed that. Like, I literally went to a school for people with basically like autism or
Mm-hmm.
social learning or learning disabilities,
Uh-huh.
and each one of them has such a different personality,
Yes.
and people refer to it as levels of autism. I
Mm-hmm.
honestly just think it's just the fact that they have different parts of their brain being
Mm.
activated more than others, and
Wow.
maybe to and maybe it's the way that their experiences have shaped them in that way.
Yeah, I love the way you worded that because that's the way I noticed it when watching Love on the Spectrum.
Mhm.
Is everybody's so different. Their personalities are so different, the way they express themselves. And I
Yeah.
love how you keep mentioning that autism is
Mhm.
thinking differently. It's the way
Yeah.
that your brain works is differently. And it's like I will be weak in places that you're strong, you
Yeah.
know? And I
and
love
that's
that.
and we definitely saw that when we were watching David and Abby. That was my favorite couple. Not necessarily my
Yes.
favorite people, like the people that like I would like necessarily really enjoy like hanging out with or like want to model myself after
Me too,
necessarily,
yeah.
but like
Oh, yeah.
but you could tell he was way like his was a lot calmer, and she was a lot more hyperactive.
Yes. Yes.
So like that, so there were the strengths and weaknesses, especially with like with the animals when they saw the lions
Yes.
at the zoo. That was a great example of them complementing each other's personalities
Mm.
and strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
So and I've always said that I'm open to dating people on the spectrum or off the spectrum, as long as and as long as they fit what I like the feeling,
Yeah.
and like they complement me and my strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. By the way, I have a side question. And
Yeah,
you probably remember this moment because you've remembered so much from the show. I
yeah,
remember when David asked Abby for a second date on the first
yeah.
time. And do you remember that she said maybe I have to look at my schedule? And I took that as, oh, well, when somebody goes maybe, that means they usually aren't really interested. But then she was actually excited, I found out later on. What did you take from that when she said maybe?
Well, like I have like a sense for these kind of things because I've said things in the past that may have been misconstrued or something,
Mm-hmm.
but I could tell based on the way she accepted the gift,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people like on the spectrum are would be like if they weren't going to see the person again, they wouldn't accept that. Like nine,
Ah.
like everyone that I knew at the school, there was maybe one or two people out of the 20, out of like the 30 people there that were that would have accepted that. So
Hmm.
I kind of had an inference there, but she was so excited and still to when she said maybe I would have to check my schedule. I think she was thinking too far ahead. I realized
Hmm.
that she was thinking so far ahead of like when is it going to be? When is it like what is it going to be? And so I think the fact that all the other like things besides the word maybe were there. So
Hmm.
I wasn't shocked that there was another date.
Great. Okay. Wow. I loved hearing
And
that
he
from
seemed to
you.
understand,
Yeah.
and
Now,
he seemed to understand that too because he's experienced
yes.
the same thing.
Yes. And I know, yeah, because I noticed that he wasn't perturbed by that. He was like, okay,
Yeah,
that's fine. And so,
and
um,
also
yeah.
it,
Hmm.
autistic people, even if he was hurt, he wouldn't have shown it necessarily on the camera as much. It takes it takes a lot. I mean, if it's a breakup or something, even though
Hmm.
it's like one date,
Hmm.
like if on the first dates maybe not, but every breakup I've had through long term relationships, because I've only had long term. I've flirted with a few girls, but I don't call it a relationship.
Okay.
But I think he really felt connected to her,
Hmm.
and that's why. So initially, if he was feeling down, he wouldn't show it necessarily. He wait like I remember I had to break up, and I came home. And I told my parents would never know that I actually reacted to it because I went into the garage. I said I'm getting a soda, and I got a soda. No one was around, and I just started crying because it was the
Hmm.
7 month relationship. I'm not too sure
Ah,
about short term relationships though. Like I said, with autistic people,
got it.
like I said, it's
Cool.
up to you. But yeah,
Cool. Great. Already I'm getting so much insight from you. So this is great. I'd love to know first off, like just about your own life and growing up. So, first I'd love to know Um, what is your experience with dating?
So in eighth grade through a lot of ninth grade, I was in my first relationship. I didn't really know as much what to do in relationships,
Hmm.
but that was the relationship where I haven't been able to match that feeling. I've had two other long-term relationships that I just never had the feeling. Like
Got it.
like I didn't want to go and grab the person and hug them, or I
Mm.
wanted to hug them, but it wasn't like that, like instant, like hands-on attraction.
Yeah, like an attraction. Yeah, I get that. And
Yeah,
how did yeah.
I liked them, but and I had a crush on them. I thought they were attractive. I just didn't have the like that gut feeling, and I let those kind of elongate because I wanted to
Interesting.
see if that would grow.
I love that. Um, so how how did you meet the people that you were dating?
Usually, had like classes or something with them. Another one, I, I haven't really I mean, I've flirted with a lot of girls
Hmm.
since this, but I was 20 years old with the last long-term relationship. Other than that, I've had like flirty things, and I've been flirting back and forth. I typically like have a girl that I'm flirting back and forth with. I'll talk to them. There's a few of them I've seen like on a date, but they didn't really materialize.
Hmm.
But the long term ones, I had already known them for a period of time, like a long
Great.
period. Like I was friends with them first.
Great. Yeah, and that's the best way.
Yeah, I've
Um,
noticed that.
and what about your experience with just making friends growing up? How did that work for you?
So in third grade, I was in kindergarten. I had like one friend,
Hmm.
but I was not really sure that he thought I was a friend back necessarily because I didn't have the social skills.
Okay.
On the first like two-way friendship I had was like fourth grade.
Okay. So fourth grade, and then kind of let's talk about actually after high school. What is
Yeah.
your experience with making friends there?
I mean, I get along with pretty much everybody. I have a lot of, I mean, like, I don't really have as much time being like working with my job and stuff to
Yeah.
actually build bonds, but I've made a few friends in college, a couple of same classes, and then
Nice.
I've stayed in touch with some people from my old work. I have, I mean, I get along with customers. I mainly just do a lot of small talk. That's what I have
Nice.
time for. But I've had a friend since eighth grade that I'm still like, he's basically my second brother.
Oh, great. Okay, so can you tell me some struggles that you have socially, in conversation or when you're making friends or when you're flirting with somebody?
So I've actually really grown in this department. I'm actually a pretty sarcastic person a lot of the time,
Nice.
but like with my friends and stuff. But like sarcasm, because I take things so literally, I used to take offense to that, and
Hmm.
also just like taking offense to like people are gonna make fun of your. I used to not like to make fun of my flaws. Now I can. I'm comfortable in
Hmm.
my own skin.
Good.
It was being comfortable. It was the more so the struggles were when I wasn't comfortable in my own skin,
Okay.
which wasn't until like maybe I. It wasn't until I went to this other school that I really felt like wow, I'm actually really good uh, at living because they put you through like they teach you how to take public transit, they teach you how to be part of society,
Mm.
they make you volunteer, they and so that's kind of when I truly felt that's where I kind of peaked since I wouldn't say peaked, but I've really started to come into my own since then.
Great.
But other than that, like it was more like the sarcasm or like making fun of each other, and which is what a lot of people do anyways. They're
Yeah.
like when they hang out. I took that as offense, and so eventually I just kind of got blackballed because of it
Mm.
for a while there, and I had to work my way up.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So,
Yeah,
you know, uh, people that don't know that you are taking it literally will go,
yeah,
"Oh, Travis is no fun."
yeah.
Got it. And
Well,
then what
I
made you
don't take it literally anymore,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. Now
I see
you
it as
yeah.
actually it's kind of like a cool thing. It means they like me or they're
That's great.
jealous of me or whatever they want to call it.
That's cool. what helped you start to, because I feel like there's probably some people that are listening or will be listening that would love to know how you started to, take things, like understand it with sarcasm and take it as a joke and joke back at them.
I think it's really over time. Just like I had a, I had a friend, uh, especially in eighth grade. Well, I met my best friend, and I should take that friend is from seventh grade.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't like him at first because he was always just kind of horse playing around.
Yeah. Okay.
And so actually we hated each other. And then in eighth grade we started hanging out more and more because we took more and more classes together. Like and eventually like we're like, oh, we have so much in common. And then and then he would tell me, and there was one day what really brought us together is there's one day he told me like why he was doing it, and he said it's because I like you, dude. I want to be friends with you. And so from there on, I actually have made a lot of friends like since then when I realized like maybe other people are doing this. Let me catch on to this.
Yes. And something that I realized is sometimes when somebody really is making fun of me, and I spin that into a positive, funny joke, then they start actually wanting to be my friend, which is really interesting.
Yeah, or also it's similar to like especially at work right now. I get a lot of there's a lot of toxic people. I mean, that's what they are. No one wants to have to go to the grocery store and wait in line. No one wants to have to wait in line, or nobody wants to find out that the thing that they want isn't there, or things like that.
Yeah.
And basically, I've learned not to take that personally.
Yeah.
Just when I first started in the grocery store industry, I was like, oh crap, this is terrible. Why are these people so mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like at a certain point, like all you can do is not take it personally. They're mad at something else, and why not try and make their day happier by giving them a solution?
That's great.
So I try to do that with friends. So I just apply to my friendship skills kind of to customers.
Okay, great. You told me on Instagram that you'd like to I copied it. You'd like to generalize why you used to struggle socially and how most of it was an internal struggle. And the main thing is you read too far into how you process things. And in reality, it's useful, interesting, and often leads to the same thing as people without autism, and you just couldn't see it. So can you go into more of that?
Yeah, well, I also just mentioned that like I was internalizing what like the sarcasm or like the making or like the joking around as literal. So I really internalized that. Had I known that they weren't actually bullying me, that they were just kind of horsing around, which is what young people do, or what people in general do, I've noticed, because my dad still jokes around with his friends that way. So it's kind of so like that was the more internalized sort of just like that, but also I took forever to process things, but I also knew that I can grow in it. So I like a whole thing that changed for me was I was like, I gotta work, even if it means I have to work that 10 times harder. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna prove. And if someone was telling me I couldn't do something, that's when I went ahead and did it. Not even well before I was a teenager. I was like, they told me that I couldn't make it past the first grade. I almost got expelled in first grade because behaviorally I didn't want to do the work. It was too like I was on sensory overload is what I call it. So and so I got through and look at me, I got through high school with the 3.45 GPA. I could have done better had I actually done my homework for an English class during my senior year. I didn't turn in any homework and I got that. So I'm pretty proud of that. I consider it a 3.6.
Nice. Yeah.
So like basically I've used it almost as ammo, even though I know a lot of it was probably just joking.
Yeah. Because I did my homework in high school and I got a 2.8. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like you know what I found. What I always hear is it's good to get a C or a B, right? On your GPA. If it because like I notice a lot of times, especially people with autism tend like if you look at the way Steve, like Elon Musk, he's not the most social guy, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And but he's super smart. He was really, I don't think he really ever grew, like he could have grown, like with autism. I feel like you could, like, just like anybody else, you could really focus on academics, or you could really focus on socially, or you could come to a balance.
Yeah.
And usually the balance means you're like a normal job, right?
Okay.
But like I definitely went the route. But like your GPA actually shows that that's why you're super social.
Yep.
Versus, and like it comes a lot more naturally to you, right? That's why you're a dating
That's
coach.
correct. That's right.
And I'm a manager at a grocery store because that's a normal job, because involving people, because that's what that's your developmental stage, and that says, and what you do in school has a lot to do with that. That's my personal experience.
Okay, and I noticed that you talked about kind of struggling and kind of working really, really hard, harder than other people. And then you did send me a video of one of the people on this new season of Love on the Spectrum. And the intro I just wanted to show, because I found it very interesting when Abby would keep mentioning that it's so frustrating to her that she can't think the way everyone else thinks. And I just want to quickly show a clip of her experiencing that when she was younger, because you sent that to me, and it really showed a lot. So I'm going to play that right now. It was so
powerful.
Yeah, it really was. Okay, I'm going to play it right now.
Stupid brain.
So she's 12 right here at 2010. And I'm going to keep going a little bit. It's a short clip.
Rip it out and give it to someone else. Don't have a typical kid's brain and put it in my head.
Why are you so...
So she said, I want to rip out my brain, put a typical kid's brain in my head.
Yeah.
Because I want to have what...
Hold on.
Because I want to have what... in my head.
Why are you so mad?
Because I want to have what typical kids have.
Because I want to have what typical kids have. Now, did you have feelings like that growing up too?
Yeah, like I said, in first grade, I was nearly expelled. I would be hold on, let me turn that down. Okay. But typically in first grade, kindergarten, I got in trouble because I would keep repeating words, and I always got mad at myself every time I just like blurted out a word. So like my cousin one day taught me all these cuss words, and I just started spouting them in preschool, and then come first grade, like the work got, there was a bigger classroom. It was a crowded space because we had to move to a lot smaller classroom. I couldn't handle it, and I literally I was in a situation where I literally couldn't learn anything. I wasn't even good at math, and that's my strong suit. And the people around, and I sat next to this really nice person, but I didn't know how to make friends with her because, like I didn't have those social skills back then, and I didn't know how to express to her that I wanted to be friends. And then, and so that was a stressor. And then she would call via sticks, and I didn't want to ever raise my hand. I kept getting called to raise my hand, and so all these different things of like anticipating, oh, am I going to get my name called? I don't want to get my name called. What do I do to this person next to me that I want to be friends with? And then all this other stuff. And then going on the playground with hundreds of kids. It's because they're the first through third grade together all at once, all in one playground.
Oh, whoa.
It was crazy. And like I was trying to play basketball on my own, and all the courts were taken. Things like that. I was not ready for that big a transition, and I was like hitting, and like it wasn't my teacher's fault. I actually really am friends with this teacher to this day.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
I actually hurt her back. I was so a first grader hurt a teacher's back, hit punching.
Whoa.
And I got so like that was something I still feel kind of bad. I feel bad about it today, but I'm friends with that teacher now.
Yeah,
we've mended things, and she's so glad to see that I'm doing like so well.
That's so great.
And so that was so at least we mended fences, but like that's what I almost got expelled for,
Hmm.
because I would consistently throw tantrums in the classroom, and I didn't want to throw a tantrum. I would literally just like be in a whole nother headspace. So that was probably my worst year in terms of like the developmental things, because I wasn't ready to just transition from that 20 kindergarten classroom to the 35 or whatever
Hmm.
in the first grade in a smaller area
Yeah.
with bigger kids on the playground that I didn't want to associate with.
Yeah. What I could see is so frustrating, and it frustrates me too, is that,
Yeah.
you know, w- people who have autism,
Mhm.
why do they have to cater to typical societies,
Well,
typical people's lifestyles? And, it's like, that's not fair.
I think actually, I do. I'll go into this then. Is that as because I didn't really get diagnosed till 14, and I wasn't until 15 years
Oh,
old,
wow.
like almost done with ninth grade, that I got transferred to the other school.
Hmm.
Um, that like I was part of normal society, and I think that really helped me
Mm.
actually.
Oh, interesting.
And then having at the tail end of the high school getting the support I needed, but I think
Hmm.
maybe being forced to almost like adapt to them
Yeah.
in some ways as much as I possibly could have
Hmm.
without that support. I think it was actually really helping on this job, because now I could talk about things, and now I could also on like let's say on a job or just in society, I know how to talk to someone who's neurotypical, which I don't really, I personally don't really agree with that term, but
Yeah.
I don't really think it should be a term even for like autism. I think it's just people being different.
Yeah, I agree
But
with
I
you.
get, but I I could communicate with both sides. Like I'm communicating with you, but I
Mhm.
could communicate with someone who's like who's you could tell is having a lot harder time on the spectrum. Uh, so it's kind, and I could make both, and make each person feel heard. I can have like I'm really kind of like that versatile person now, and I noticed for myself that in the real world I have to get a job. I have to,
Mhm.
and in the real world customers aren't going to understand
Yeah.
that I have autism, so
Yeah.
I can't show that I have autism at work.
Yeah.
I'll occasionally do it when there's needed,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. But I don't let them see it as weakness.
Yeah.
But like I don't even put on my application that I have autism, because I know
Okay.
that
Hmm.
it's illegal to do discrimination, but they will. It may not. It may give somebody else the edge.
That makes a lot of sense. Wow. Very interesting. Um, I'd love to hear, what are the differences that in how you communicate with me versus somebody with autism.
With autism, I try to. I have to make out what they're saying more.
Hmm.
Like it's not. It takes a little bit more patience and asking. Like you don't want to ask too many questions.
Hmm.
So for me, it's like a sixth sense almost. Like I can see why, like we talked about with the autistic coach versus the non-autistic coach, they were definitely
Hmm.
like I'm able to talk slower to the person. I don't, and I ask more broad questions rather than the detail oriented questions. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the bigger picture.
Mm.
Versus like I could be as detail oriented as I want with this podcast, right? Or
Hmm.
when I'm talking to a friend, I might also like I mentioned that a lot of them don't like being made fun of, or
Hmm.
like even in a friendly way.
Yeah.
So I'll be more sensitive to that, and
Mm.
not go too far into the sarcasm or the or like just the poking fun at each other.
Travis, you probably know that I talk a lot about asking assumptive questions to people,
Yeah,
and how I feel that actually opens people up. But do you
yeah.
find that for people with autism, they enjoy a more open-ended question, so they could really say everything they want to say?
Yeah, like at a certain point, like if it's too specific of a question,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be like, oh, well, I don't know this tiny little aspect of it. They like broad questions usually,
Got it.
and then they could talk about whatever, like, and then they'll tell you something within that, like I basically like I know like things about history class like that like most people would know like I know stuff about let's say this, I know about math, I know about like history, I know I do memorize a lot of things from like certain history
Hmm.
things. So like if you ask me a question like what's your favorite thing about history class, that's something that someone could really go into, right? But if you're asking them, what did you think about this specific king of England and blah blah
Mm.
blah, or they can't answer that because they they tend to know things that they remember what they're gonna remember, and that's why and so
Mm.
that kind of goes into like teach like just like so like the assumptive questions. If they don't know the answer, they're just gonna shut down almost.
Got it. Got it.
A lot of
Okay.
them like for me, I am very they call it Asperger's, which is like
Hmm.
super high functioning. So for me, I'm able to also I have the same feelings that everyone else
Yeah.
on autism has,
Hmm.
but I'm actually able to that's part of what makes me so good at this interview.
Mm. Okay.
But the questions are usually you want to make them very open ended.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Um, I'd love to just quickly kind of cover some of the characters, some of the cast
Yeah.
from the US Love on the Spectrum and just see what you think. Tell me
Yeah.
your input. Unfortunately, Netflix takes down any clip that I would ever show, so this stream would drop,
Yeah.
but I'm just going to show photos. So,
Yeah.
if you look at my stream, you don't even have to turn on the volume. I'm just going to show
Yeah.
photos, and perhaps that'll give context. But
Yeah.
I'll just mention their names otherwise, and you could
Mhm.
say what you'd like. Um, since we were on David and Abby,
Yeah.
and they're right here and on the screen here, um, I'd love to know more about your thoughts about their relationship. I think they're both amazing people. I'm so charmed by
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
David is like, he's such a chill, just cool guy. And so
Yeah. No,
yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts about them.
they're actually, I think, the most likely to succeed couple.
Okay. Why is that?
Because it's just because you could tell they have that feeling, which is what autistic people tend to go on,
Mm-hmm.
but also they complete each other in a lot of ways. So like at the very least, this is a long-term relationship that will probably go into at least through the next season, maybe more. Is my
Ah.
guess, just based on the fact that, like I said, their personalities and their anxiety levels are completely different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, people with autism can be completely chill in a given situation, but
Yeah.
not in another. So, like in this situation, he was comfortable with the cameras. I'm not sure that Abby was necessarily
Mm-hmm.
comfortable
Yeah.
with the whole as comfortable with the whole show. She was more skeptical, I guess is the right word.
Yeah. I didn't, I actually don't remember seeing David anxious at all, but maybe I've missed
Yeah,
some parts. What do you think?
I think a lot of autistic people tend to hide it
Okay.
more or do a better
Mm.
job of hiding it. I don't think. I think he was a little bit nervous. Like he was doing things to playing to his strengths a lot more. So I don't. It's hard to tell. Like usually when someone's really playing to one thing, like animals, like he was,
Yeah.
that's his comfort zone. So it's hard to see him outside
Ah.
of his comfort zone.
Oh, that's such a great point. Okay, let's jump to, and I don't know how to say his name. And I actually forget their names, but if you look on the screen, you'll probably remember their names. This
Sabota
scene
and I
here.
forgot her and Rachel.
Yeah. Let me look it up. But this scene here, the kite scene, this
Yeah,
was my favorite. Oh, it was, yeah, Rachel and Sabot. Yeah, that's how to say it.
yeah,
This was my favorite scene. Like, I cried during this scene. Like, this
yeah,
was so beautiful to me when they were singing. What are your thoughts about
yeah.
their relationship?
I think it's gonna be hard. For I think they both have. I think they're both at the same stage, so they're growing kind of the same pace. But but this is gonna be like a long term project. I think.
Hmm.
Honestly, like I know that they're both. They need to work on their social skills. I think they
Mm-hmm.
need to work on their social skills a little bit more. But but I'm not really to say that. I don't really want to be too judgmental, but I
Hmm.
think that they're probably going to last a while. But I think it's a long time before they choose to go independent,
Uh,
like be independent and everything with their lives, like going on off-camera dates and stuff
got it.
necessarily.
Got
That's
it.
that's my guess. I'm not. I did like Sabot. I think he was putting a lot of effort in.
Yeah,
I didn't really get to know Rachel though.
that's true. I didn't see much of her. Okay,
Yeah,
cool. Let's see
they
where.
seem happy together.
Yeah, they do. Okay, now this guy, he is a favorite. And what was his name again? Like
James.
Richard? James, that's it. James.
Yeah,
James, man, what a character. He's such a
I know.
such a big personality. I just loved everything about him. What are your thoughts about his, isn't it am I right that he didn't end up with anyone at the end, or did I forget?
Yeah, he stayed friends with her though, which is kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. And was it okay, I'm trying to remember. Was it him who did not want it to be a relationship, or was it the other?
It,
Was it
it
her?
was her, but I'm surprised you got the second date. To be honest,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there was no chemistry. I think a lot
Mm,
of people would actually like if he were dating a high energy person.
mm-hmm.
I think he could have found somebody.
Got it. Okay.
But he's yeah. I think I had a friend. Well, I definitely had a friend like this who was on this kind of like reaction. This sort of person that was almost exactly like him.
Mm,
And in high school, I'm not going to name his name because I'm not sure if he wants me
yeah.
to, but he was exactly like this person, and we hung out every single day. And there was also a chill guy in the group, and I was just a guy that was like the third wheel, kind of joking around all the time.
Yeah. Hmm.
I was a jokester.
Yeah. And yeah, he had a great sense of humor too, where like him and his
Yeah,
parents would go back and forth teasing each
yeah,
other, and he would get upset, but you could tell that he was kind of joking about it too.
yeah.
Really great.
He's actually. I was in eighth grade. No, I would say seventh grade. When I really started talking to more people,
Hmm.
like maybe two people at a time. I
Yeah.
was like him.
Mm.
I was
Okay.
a lot like him. I was very passionate. I'm still a passionate person, but
Yeah.
I was like overly passionate like he is. And then I didn't necessarily have like the same manners on a date because I noticed he wasn't necessarily as had wasn't as polite on the date, and he would
Hmm.
start talking about things that you wouldn't talk about on a date. So
Yeah.
he doesn't. So like I was just less aware. I think is the
Got
right
it.
word.
Got it. Now, I mentioned, I remember you mentioning about how David and Abby complement each other. What type of personality do you think would complement James?
Someone like is it like super high energy.
Okay,
There
the
was
high
one
energy.
um uh I forget her name, but there was a she's I forget her name, but on the other level on the spectrum, she was part deaf, I think too.
Mm-hmm.
She would really enjoy him, just because they were so high. They were just so bubbly, is what she was. I think
Ah,
bubbly and accepting of the like wants to embrace the other person.
yeah.
And she was more, and she was, but at the same time, she was a background person while also having high energy.
Interesting. Yeah, I wish I could remember who you're talking about because I did watch those other seasons too.
Yeah.
But
She
okay, cool.
dated the handsome dinosaur guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean I remember him, the handsome
Yeah.
dinosaur guy. Yeah, I remember him. He was great. Man, I forget who he was seeing. But that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I like
Chloe.
hearing Chloe. Okay. Let me just quickly look up Chloe just so I can have some context.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Is this who you're talking about? Wait.
Yeah.
No. It
No, no.
is?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's her. Yeah. Sometimes she had her hair big, like
Mhm.
the middle,
Yes.
the one
Wait,
when
was
she
it
had
the
her hair
one that
down. Yeah.
watched was it the one that watched him on one season and then wanted, am I thinking of, or no, that's, I don't know. Anyway.
No, yeah, I think that's who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, I want to go to the probably, I think, the most popular couple. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Trying. Um. I don't know.
I would
I'd
say
have to see it.
I would say Danny and Solomon would probably be the most popular talked about couple, but
Oh yeah,
that's
Danny is a firecracker.
yeah, that's my yeah, she is. And that's my guess, but I'd love to hear your thoughts about them.
I think they went too hard too fast. They played their hand too fast.
Yes.
But I think had they actually, and like she was too goal oriented. I think he was just figuring out like he was too laid back for her almost.
Yeah. That's true. I agree. He was laid back, very laid back, and
I did I found it really interesting his interpretation. I'm not sure it's everyone's interpretation, but the law of attraction thing that he was talking about was kind of interesting to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I believe in that stuff too.
Yeah.
I noticed how Danny, she got so excited because, you know, from what she saw, everything seemed so great. But then I noticed that when she went home, she really started to let it marinate of how she felt about him, and then started coming up with some stuff that she wasn't as interested in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't. But I do notice that autistic people, when they're nervous, they bring up one subject, or in reality, they know a bunch of subjects.
Got it.
So like she would keep bringing up animation. I'm sure she's interested in more than that. But because I think she was nervous to be on the there was something about the show that they only highlighted that. So it really brought that out in her. I think there's a lot more to her.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so I want to jump to let's jump to one more couple. Where
I was also going to do Kaylin. I really liked Kaylin.
Yeah, that's where cool. That's where I'm going.
Yeah. Save the best for last.
All right, so here she is. I really like her too. This is her, right?
Let me see. I can't see.
Oh, let me.
Oh yeah, that one and the pink shirt.
Yes. Right here.
Yeah, and that's her and Peter who stood her up. I don't know why he missed out.
Yeah.
I think like she's the exact I'm not saying I would date like her. She's all the way in South Carolina. I'm in California, and she's got everyone all over her. But but that's definitely like my type. Like I like her brutal honesty, and I like and like it's like, and she has a good vibe. I mean, I think if you want an example in the show of like who I thought was like most attractive, I'd say Danny, like physically, right? Yeah. But I wouldn't get the vibe from her. I never got like that feeling of like or compatibility that I would have with like what they showed of Caitlin. Yeah. Like I don't know Caitlin. She definitely they showed her very little.
Yeah.
But I think that's the type of girl that I would like, to kind of chill but honest and just not afraid to say what she wants to say. I like women who are stronger in that, and honestly strong. I think stronger may be an offensive term though, but I'm like someone who's comfortable and a woman who's comfortable in herself and is super honest.
Okay.
That's yeah.
I like that. Yeah, and I noticed that about her too. She seems pretty grounded, I think would probably be the word. Grounded in who she is, knows herself. Yeah. And yeah, maybe you should slide into those DMs.
Nah, there's a lot of other, but there's also a lot of other girls that that come into my store just like her though. So now I have a better shot with.
So let's talk about that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean I'm not allowed to ask them out on the job, but they could give me the number. I mean, I'm really just open to anyone like that in the Bay Area because it's I don't really drive, so I usually take public transit. That's who I. So like I have to look at the where they are in relation to me, but also just like chill. Like I'm and like those are pretty broad criteria too. So it's not like not like I'm asking for too much, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm pretty open to also like learning about people. So if that's all there is to you, then I know there's more I could get to know about.
And, something I could suggest, Travis, is that you don't have to, outright ask somebody out on a date. You can start as friends, just like you did with your last relationship. And I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
And so if you notice you connect with somebody that comes in often and you guys have a good banter, camaraderie going on, you can say something like, "Hey, you're really great. We should follow each other on Instagram," or maybe, or if you guys both share a certain interest, you could say, "Oh, maybe we could do that sometime as friends."
Yeah. There's literally a Jamba Juice and a Starbucks, and that's my store's right in between those. So that's perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, and just like I said, I also agree with you. It's not right to just be asking people out on the job. But if there is, like I said, if there's somebody that comes in frequently and it's pretty obvious that they show a lot of interest in you, proposing a friendship is not a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also like I always just say like let's see where things go kind of thing.
Exactly.
Whatever they take us,
I'm interested, Travis, because it seems like you really connect to helping others with autism. Is that something that you'd want to do professionally in the future?
Actually no, because it takes a lot. I have certain things that so I can do like in short spurts like this, but when it comes to like a whole living of doing it, I think it hits too close to home. And it might backtrack because not everyone is as far as long as me. I could do short interactions or like hang out with somebody with autism every now and then, but when I'm virtually working 24/7 with them, I think it also kind of takes away the specialness of helping people. Like I had a neighbor who had autism, and that was my neighbor for like about a decade, and he was way younger than me, and he looked up to me a lot, and he took my and he just I kind of took him under my wing. That was something I could handle. But when I have like too many people like that in my life, it would be too draining.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Almost.
So I'd like to talk about your future in dating and any questions you might have for me, or just, what your thoughts are about approaching the dating world.
Yeah. Definitely. I have I recently was friends with a girl, and I later asked her out, and I need to kind of like like I need to mend those fences because it didn't end that well.
Okay.
I don't want to go into specifics. It's not really something I put on the internet.
Okay.
But it did. But like there was some discomfort, and I'm trying to mend those. I'm trying to get over that a little bit, just because it's a girl that I've really liked for a long time. So but I'm open to dating, but I just don't want it to be seen as a rebound. Like this was probably I want to say 2 months ago.
Okay.
So I think it would be disrespectful to her right now.
Okay.
Is what the situation is. But I'm open. But like I said, like, and I'll probably change my mind if I found somebody that I'm actually like equally or more interested in. I'm just being more selective right now because of that.
Got it. I remember you mentioning that you're open to dating everybody.
Yeah. I'm open. I'm open to like I said, like I'm gonna give everyone a chance. I'm gonna analyze the situation.
Yeah.
like right now I'm not I'm active, but only if like the time, if I feel like it's something that I'm like truly interested in. I wouldn't necessarily even call like what I date next a rebound. But I'm very I'm open to getting to know somebody, but I wouldn't call it boyfriend and girlfriend kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just for a while.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm open to going on dates, just seeing where things go. I think that's what I mean. But if it turns into something serious, I might have to wait for it to be more serious.
Yeah,
Is what I'm trying to say.
I like that approach better because you take your time and learning about the
Yeah.
person and how you feel about the person. So when somebody that is not on the spectrum is interested in somebody in dating somebody on the spectrum, do you have any tips for them on, best practices?
Just be very direct, that, and you literally just ask them out, or you literally say, I want to be friends and see where things go. Like you have to be with them, like indirect communication, and it's like, it makes the autistic person really question a lot of things. They're already nervous in those kind of interactions at first, like with somebody, especially if you don't know the person.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're direct, they tend to listen more.
That's great. Anything else that you could think of that would be helpful for somebody that is interested in somebody on the spectrum?
Once you say it, give them at least give them like that, like they'll usually say that, like, oh, give me some space, but you have to but they'll give you a time, but like, and then you ask, well, what time, like how much time are you how much time do you need to think? They'll just just give me your number and I'll get then time. Usually, like they'll say like a day, like the next 24 hours,
Got it.
because
That's
they
great.
really need time to, because they like I said, they're 20 steps ahead. So like they're already thinking, so they need to scale it back before
Yes.
answering you. Otherwise it's going to be like what you saw with Danny and Solomon.
Yes. Oh, okay. That's so great, man. What a great tip. Now, do you find? Well, let me ask you this: have you dated somebody that isn't on the spectrum?
I've dated someone with my first girlfriend, she had a learning disability, but not a social disability. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't autism. I don't even know what it was. It was probably just,
Yeah.
I don't know. She was pretty normal. So
Got
she
it.
just happened to be in an academic support class, which a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people were.
And in that relationship, what did you notice were some, let's see, I'm trying to see how I want to formulate the question. Did you notice that dynamic between you and her was different between if you were on a date or seeing somebody on the spectrum?
So I've dated the other two relationships. They were on the spectrum or had something similar to the spectrum.
Okay.
There are other disabilities that have similar aspects, but she was she actually taught me a lot socially at the same time without even knowing it. Like if I saw her on the street, I would probably thank her so much for getting to me, being a huge part of my life. And I'd actually, like, it, to be honest, if she wasn't dating anyone right now, I'd give it another shot. But I was just that I had to change schools. So but I probably won't see her again. I don't think, I looked it up. She does not. And I've asked her friends, does she have social media? They said no. So it's kind of like I can't reach out. And they lost touch with her too. So I guess I don't know. But that girl was very. She acted like I didn't have autism almost. And I acted like I didn't have. I almost acted like I was normal, even though I was a time where I didn't feel as comfortable. I had just gotten, when I found out I had autism, I actually went straight to a like, I wouldn't call like a hospital for people who are feeling like depressed and stuff, because I felt a lot of depression at first. And she stuck with me through that, and
That's great.
and and so I owe a lot to her. I don't think another person on this, a lot of people on the spectrum are super loyal, but I don't think that, but they'd run away, but they get anxious around that.
Okay.
And it took me time to adapt, and she gave me that time, and I don't think I
Mm.
could have gotten through everything if it weren't
Wow, that's
for
great.
her. So she
Um,
is a very, so I'm saying like the difference is, I think I could have been more of a support system for her, but with people with autism, I feel like I have to overcompensate for what they're not as good at times, and when in a situation where they feel in danger or
mhm.
unsafe.
Okay, that makes sense. And yeah, I noticed how you said that she didn't treat you like you had autism, and I would think that would go without saying, but I would assume that there would be little tiny things somebody would
Yeah,
do that would that they think maybe was catering to you or something like that, where
yeah,
where you would actually just prefer them to chat with you normally. Is that what you mean?
yeah. Well, for example, people with autism, they
Mm-hmm.
don't like to be hugged. In fact, I'm using a weighted blanket for
Mm-hmm.
comfort.
Mm-hmm.
Like naturally, you need to be hugged in your, especially in your developmental stage. People need to be hugged,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like. But like when I didn't want to be hugged, she, as much as she really wanted to hug me because she was, I mean, I would hug her when she would have a bad day,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes, but because like I'd say back then, about 30% of the time I was having a bad day, and I just wanted to be left alone, and she was someone who really wanted to, like almost like really like she was someone that really liked to help people. So the fact that
Mm.
she couldn't help was really hard on her.
Ah, I see. I see that.
But she acted like that was normal. So I thought so
Great.
that was something,
I
or I
understand.
guess so that was kind of hard on her.
Okay. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Just like don't make a big fuss out
Yeah,
of the differences between her and you
yeah,
basically. She
yeah,
wasn't like complaining about her, or she at least wouldn't
yeah,
be pointing it out all the time. I don't know why you can't
yeah.
hug me or something like that.
It's like if you remember on the ultimatum, like the first thing Colby says is, "Oh, I'm the touchy feely one," and then
Mhm.
and then Madeline rolled her eyes. If
Mhm.
you remember that from that,
Yep. Yep.
um, so that's kind of the same. So that was kind of like a lot of times I would want to be touchy feely,
Mhm.
but uh, there were those times I didn't, and that she really wanted to support me. I didn't want to be a burden. So
I noticed, going back to Love on the Spectrum, I noticed
yeah,
that James often would ask for everything. He would prompt somebody with is this okay? Now,
yeah,
do you think that's a good idea? Is that something that when you want to, if you're interested in dating somebody on the spectrum, like for instance,
yeah,
I think it was a hug. He said like, is it all right if I
yeah,
hug you? Is it all right
yeah.
if I do this? Do you think that's a good thing to do?
Um, so a lot of times, if well, I think that comes with getting to know the person. So if you're dating and you've gone on a few dates, you
Mm-hmm.
tend to get a feel of when they want to be hugged
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, or like things like that, or like when they want to be touchy feely.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can kind of sense their body language at the time, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's loose or not.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to ask in the beginning, and then you get a feel for it.
Got it.
Because
Okay.
because autistic people love routine,
Yeah.
and so they're gonna be pretty predictable behavior. Like I eat quesadillas, I eat sandwiches, and I eat frozen dinners. Those are my
Nice.
meals. It's gonna be one of those three. I'm gonna take and I'm going to watch TV at this time of day. I'm going to work. When I get back from
Mm.
work, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go take a shower. They're pretty predictable people, even with body, not just with that, but with like body language. So
Mm.
when you get to know them after 3 dates, 2 or 3 dates, you'll understand. You won't have to ask anymore. So in the beginning, ask.
in the beginning ask. Got it. Because it would be taking them out of their routine.
Yeah.
Makes
You have
sense.
to slowly do the transitions with them. They don't like change, like I said, because they already feel like they've accomplished this in their head and they're 20 steps ahead. So
Oh, that makes so much sense. See, this is why I love chatting with you, because you
yeah.
really open a lot for me. You make me understand things more. So before we go, Travis, I'd love to know if there's anything you want to say or you want to ask.
Yeah. I could always I can't think of a question off the top of my head, but I really wanted this to make, like, the whole point of me doing this is that I want to help people who deal with similar things to me, whether they're diagnosed or not. And I also want to show that autistic people are basically like everybody else in a lot
Yeah.
of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of wanted to I want to just make a little difference or educate some people, because 1 in 64 people will have autism, and so you're bound to make a friend who has it, and this will help you with those at least with your friendships, or if you go in a relationship with somebody like that. This is a really good blueprint on
Yeah.
at least, and notice, like, I spoke as though how it relates to me. It may relate slightly different to somebody else. They may not have the same routines, but
Yeah.
it's very similar. But you could look for patterns is the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to know that they're already plenty of steps ahead, and you have to ask directly and give them some space sometimes. But I really just want to make sure that everyone can see that I'm an assistant manager. I'm open to dating. I have had serious relationships with autism, and they can do whatever, and people with autism can do whatever they want, as long as they set their mind to it.
That's great. Thank you so much, Travis. You've been such a help, and I know that people that are watching this are going to learn from you and be helped in their life from you. So thank you so much, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about creating a specific like Instagram if anyone ever wanted to contact me about this podcast.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
do you want to
you can just
say
use
what
the
your
one I'm
Instagram?
using now.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Let me jump on it then.
Yeah.
Because I just want to pull up your profile. Hold on one sec.
It doesn't have much on it, but it's more meant for, like, if people
Yeah,
want
exactly.
just to
If somebody's
communicate.
interested, yes, exactly. So, so I have your Instagram up on the stream right now, and it is TRAWROONI Traw Rooney, baby. But I'm sure that's not the way that you would pronounce it. It would probably be Rooney.
I just call it T-Raw.
T-Raw,
Like
baby.
And then, like, my last name starts Rooney, but no one's able to say that, so I just say Rooney. People
Nice.
call me Rooney, so
Cool.
T-Raw Rooney.
Cool. So if anybody wants to reach out to Travis about anything we talked about today, or I'm sure anything in general, contact him. He's open to answering your questions, chatting with you about anything. So thank you so much. Everybody's saying thank you in the live chat. And yeah, great, buddy. Anytime you want to come on again, let me know.
All right, yeah. If anything update happens with dating or something, I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, that'll be really fun to talk about.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Have a great night. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Bye.
Bye. So, what a great guy. So happy to have him on. And again, I want to be spreading awareness for everybody in terms of relationships. So I just want everybody to feel heard. I want everyone to be able to get into the relationships that they want to get into. And, I've never, aside from reacting to Love on the Spectrum twice, I've never really focused on people on the spectrum in terms of starting relationships. And I want to do that more. So that's why I had Travis on. And, as you could see, he's somebody that's passionate about this subject and informed and knows a lot and is good at explaining it as well. And that's it. So if anybody has actually any suggestions for anybody else that I could interview that may not have a platform to talk about their lifestyle, or a community that does not have a platform, and it would help, their relationship skills and their social skills, and it would help people understand them more, so everybody could just be interacting in harmoniously in the world. Let me know, DM me or put it in the live chat. That's it, everybody. Nice to see it. So, I'll be back Thursday. I don't know what's going to be on the show Thursday. We're going to find out. It'll be something good, though. I promise. It's always good, isn't it? All right, guys. Thank you so much. I want to thank the beta members. Daniela. I see Shayla here. I see Kat here. Do we got any other members here? Let me check. We got Ben here. You guys are all the best. And Valdina Manuel, she said, and I could just look in the chat, which was really sweet of her because it made me feel good. She said, "Hi, betas. Unfortunately, it's 3 a.m. and I need to sleep, but I'll watch the live when I wake up. As always, I'll stay awake for the live one day. Looking forward to watching the live later today." So I want to thank all you guys for being members. You don't realize how much it means to me that you guys are members and come every week. It's big, okay? Again, if you guys weren't here, there would really be no show. Y'all are the ones that have the show, make the show. I'm working on turning this into like not a kind of like desk situation, but more into like a couch situation where I could have people on. So I'm really working on that, but there's so much I'm working on. There's so many things I'm doing. For instance, the conversation class that you can get in Skillshare, it's the link in the description. I'm working on releasing my book, and I don't know if I'm going to call it God Pill or not. Still really deciding. Still so much I want to figure out there. I'm releasing a really big program that is going to be either 2 to 3 months long soon, all on dating for introverts. In fact, it might just call the program Dating for Introverts. Kat says, "I vote not." I don't know what that means. I forget what I was saying for her to vote not. Oh, to not have the couch situation, maybe? I don't know. Anyway. There's so much. I'm going to hold live events. It's just there's so much. And like me with ADD, it's like I'm constantly excited about something, about 5 different things. And sometimes when I'm excited about 5 different things, I shut down and I don't focus on any of it. Oh, Kat says, "Vote not for the God Pill." So basically what I'm going to do, and this is what Tim Ferriss does for his books, he literally comes up with a title, has variations on the book title, and then he puts them on Instagram ads or Facebook ads, and he sees which has the most interest. And that's what I'm going to do. Because again, I come up with a lot of ideas and I get excited about the idea itself, not really caring if it's a good idea. Does anybody connect with that? That's my personality. I get excited about the idea regardless if it's a good idea, just because it feels good to have the idea. It's the creativity of the idea that excites me. It's the prospect of the idea being interesting, not if it's being good. So I see 2 people say against God pill, but last week there was voting for God pill. So we don't know. On my Instagram, everyone liked God pill, but the Instagram ads that I put out, that's going to be the true sign, because it's going to go to hundreds of thousands of people. And I might even have a thing where they could pre-order the book for money, and it'll be able to see, if somebody's actually interested in it rather than just saying they're interested in it or not interested in it. Yeah, Daniela, I agree with you about people need to move away from this whole pill aspect. But I do know that somebody once told me that I admire. He said, give people what they want and then give them what they need. And I need to meet people where they are. And that's something I have to think about as a creative, because I don't care about that. If it was me, I would just literally not have a title for the book. It would just be a black cover. And hey, it's my new book. But I can't do that. I have to be a marketer as well, And so because of that, I have to put my creativity towards marketing and what it sounds like. And I do think I do like the name God Pill. I think it's funny. I think it's stupid, but it also makes sense within the context of what the book is about. And so, I'm in that place right now. We will see, but I really want to get the book out as soon as possible. I have to record the audiobook, and I'm also thinking about recording it video as well. So recording the entire book on video. I don't know. We'll see. That would be a very big job, because it's, it's not a huge book, but video recording a book is work. It's a lot. Daniela says, I lean more towards the pill to end all pills. That's basically what the whole concept of God pill is. It's like, oh, you guys like pills? How about this fucking pill? It ends pills. How about a pill that's not a pill? Just a sandwich. Daniela says yes to a video in addition to the audio. It's just, it's a long book. I mean, it's a book. So to sit and film that and then edit, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of work. Just doing the audiobook is, that's going to be enough. But I know it would be so great if I had that. Just think about that. That would be hours of footage of me talking, reading the book on video. Anyway, still so much to do. But look, there's 12 people here listening to me talk about it. So a spoonful of beta. That's funny. I don't want to connect the word beta with the book, because it really has nothing to do with beta. What the book is about. It helps dating goes on. You're funny, Danny. You're sick and you're funny. Kat says you could just film reading the audio for the audio. Wait a second. Holy shit. You're right. See, this is why I talk about this stuff, because you guys need to help me. There's too many thoughts in my brain. There's too many ideas in my brain. And then I get confused sometimes, and I lose track of reality. And then I just needed Kat to say, just literally hit record while you're recording the audiobook, you idiot. Before I go, I just want to show you guys Ren and Stimpy, because that was my favorite show as a kid. And saying you idiot reminded me of that. Let's see. You idiot. Oh, duh. I'm stupid.
That's where Ren, Hope, and Stimpy come in.
That's Hork, you idiot. Dead! Dead, you idiot! You know what dead is? Fat, bloated idiot!
Does it make sense now that I am the way I am? Because this was just like right into the blood vein as a kid. All the time. Obsessed.
Idiot! You fat, bloated idiot! You stupid idiot! Yes, anything, you fat, bloated idiot! We can't just wander around like idiots! Listen, you idiot. You're an idiot. I want you to meet my friend, Stimpy. He's an idiot. You idiots! You're an idiot. You fat, bloated, stupid idiot!
Oh, and then, I love when they show art, like real good art. Fuck. So that's them, the Chihuahua. And I actually have a Ren now. Oh, I should have called him Ren, my dog. I got a dog a couple months ago, and he's part Chihuahua. I should have just called him Ren. All right. All right. I love you guys. I miss you. Let's keep talking in the Discord. We need more members so we could have more chitty chats in the Discord. But the Discord is what I'm gonna be chatting in. And if anybody has any ideas for, episodes or whatever, let me know in the Discord. Isn't it great that the stream actually worked today? Ugh. It was PTSD I was having. Because last time that me and Travis tried to do the stream, my computer just decided to hate me. And I ended the stream and I felt very anxious about it. And I was just, So doing it again, there was a little bit of the PTSD going, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God, please God. But it worked. Daniela says, come to the Discord, guys. We have cookies. So anybody that's watching that's not a member yet, please become a member. Be friends with me. All right, guys. Muchas smooches. Caleb, not a new computer, but just, I guess I have less apps open or something. Oh, I also restarted the computer before the stream. So I'm going to restart my computer before a stream so it kind of starts fresh. All right, I'm out. See you guys Thursday.